Where are you on Gerard Mayo today? He's had I swear I saw this quote. If I thank you, Scott. If I didn't, it's on me, but I thought I saw him over the weekend. Ken and I talked about this briefly Saturday, about you can be successful as a coach without being demeaning to your players. The new age players coach mentality. I thought Gerard Mayo was incredibly deft at successfully navigating last week, which was really tough. With Judon, with all the questions that presented. I think that the practice Saturday was, by all accounts, a success. There hasn't been chaos that many predicted that would ensue with a fresh coaching staff all coming together.
Well, you're not seeing it. I mean, you don't know what that whole hold in, hold out, hold up, whatever you want to call it, what kind of issues that is creating in the locker room. Like, you have no idea.
Correct, but I would say that the people in the locker room are overwhelmingly supportive of being paid. Excuse me.
Oh,
sorry, I sneezed, didn't. Christian Barmore got paid. He's obviously out with the blood clots, but you have Godchow, you have Onwenu, you have Hunter Henry, the entire roster basically was paid except for Judon. And I think that there are few players on the team that can connect with Judon in terms of his demands. He's at a level, he's the most talented, accomplished player on the team. And he's in the middle of a contractual dispute with the organization. I don't think players blame Mayo either way on that.
I think players are probably more on Gerard Mayo's side, more on Matt Judon's side than we think. Like, I don't think this is causing any type of rift in the locker room. And I think if it was causing a rift in the locker room with coaching, then Matt Judon wouldn't be out at practice. Like that, I think that meeting settled everything down between Judon and Mayo.
Well, what do you mean settled it?
He wasn't he wasn't practicing. He was,
but he's not practicing. I mean,
he's participating.
He's showing up so he doesn't get fined.
No, he was participating in practice after that meeting. Before, he was standing on the sideline talking to fans, telling them to harass Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh.
Right, and now he's on social media talking about how you have to go and get your worth.
Yeah, know your worth.
And so it doesn't. The only thing that's going to settle it is that you give in and give Judon the money that he wants.
Right. And I think that if they do that, that is more on – I don't think people will be viewing it as Gerard Mayo capitulating. I think they'll be viewing that as Elliott Wolf and or the Crafts got involved and said, we need to get this guy on the field. But by and large, I like the approach of Gerard Mayo. I think it will be successful. I don't know. I have no idea, obviously. But I am optimistic about 7 to 8 wins, and I think so far so good. No news is good news when it comes to the apparatus of the training camp failing. Like, I think Gresh has been there every day. He's looking for flaws in everything they do. They had the mic'd up Alex Van Pelt dude. I mean, they're all happy. They're all, trying to build something new, and I'm excited to see how it looks on the field Thursday night.
Well, let me ask you this, history-wise. What was the longest hold-in that you had during the Belichick era?
Ty Law, probably. I mean, Ty Law told the Boston Globe that Bill Belichick lies to feed his family. That was pretty big spat between a guy that was an all-pro Super Bowl champion
20 years ago.
And
then
Logan Mankins held out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Bill got rid of him.
Randy Moss did that, ended up getting traded. Tom Brady publicly said, go talk to Mr. Kraft and say Bill Belichick, but that was kind of a big contractual dispute. And I think part of the reason Bill and his system worked for him is that right now Gerard Mayo is making a fraction of what Matthew Judon is seeking to make, whereas Bill was always the highest paid guy on the team. And that stuff, it does matter. For whatever it's worth, Bill's pecking order was important to him. And that's the same reason why when you had Julian Edelman making $6 million, he wasn't going to go out and bring in another receiver that's making $8 million that had done nothing here. He was really into the system being organized and flowing in terms of talent rather than salary.
Don't you think that's better, though, for players, that Gerard Mayo is making less than some of these players? So that I think the messaging, if Gerard Mayo is sitting down with Matt Judon saying, hey, man, You just got this deal done last year. It's a lot of money. I understand what you're saying, but you got to, think big picture. That's a better message coming from a guy like Jerod Mayo, who's making less than it probably is coming from a guy like Bill Belichick, who's making way more.
That's true. And if you want to ask another one, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, famously did this.
Here's Coach from New Hampshire. What's up, Coach?
Yeah, just weighing in on Jerod Mayo here in the early days of his coaching. For years and years, and I'm 63, all I wanted the Patriots to do was win. But as I've gotten older in the last 10, 15 years, all I've really wanted is to know why decisions were made and to get actually as a fan closer to my team. And I love Jerod Mayo so far. I love his honesty, his transparency, his humility when he makes a mistake. So I just feel closer to my team, and I'm, for that reason, selfishly, looking forward to the season.
Okay, even if his transparency is saying something like he said on this show, which is we're going to burn a lot of cash, and then they never go out and burn the cash, you still like that, I guess.
Well, I think he may have been under the wrong assumption that Kraft was going to spend. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he was trying to pressure the owner early in his days, saying, we're going to do this. Come on, I made it public. I mean, I don't. What's the downside to it?
Well, the downside is that I think a lot of fans got excited. I mean,
and cash. Ready to burn some cash.
He gets the job, and then he's on this show the next day saying that they're going to burn some cash very aggressively, and then they don't burn any cash. I think that upsets fans.
Right. Well, they did burn cash on their own guys. They paid a lot for Onwenu and Hunter Henry and
maybe that's what he meant.
That's not what he meant.
Here's Derek, the Steelers fan. Hello, Derek.
Well, good morning, everybody.
What's up?
Somebody's got to make it make sense to me with this Godchild guy. Like, what does this kid do? Belichick gave him money last year. He shows up this year, bitches about cash. This kid, he's invisible. He doesn't bring anything to the table at all. And they paid him. I would be pissed if I was Judon too. Curtis just went through the list. A bunch of stiffs got paid. And this guy's their only guy. And he's, above mediocre at best. He's never, even in Baltimore, put together a full season, this kid, which is something you people sweep under the rug. Mm-hmm. He plays about 12 games a year, gets about 3 sacks a year against, New Orleans or one of these other, slug teams, and then that's it for him. But that being said, at least he does something. This guy, Gottschalk, he does zero. I'll give you a perfect example in a comp, Curtis. The kid Hayward for the Steelers, same position. Does he put up huge numbers? No. But he's out doing stuff. He got the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's not invisible. This guy Gottschalk shows up, takes the money, and then goes home for 6 months. You never hear a word out of him. He brings zero to the table. They keep giving him money. It's a joke.
Yeah, I tend to err more on Derek's side here. I think that the Godchow stuff, I didn't understand it at the time when Belichick called him one of the best defensive linemen in football. But honestly, if I'm Matthew Judon, I might decide to hire Drew Rosenhaus because he's able to do these deals. Yeah. I'm serious. Maybe instead of being mad that you don't have your deal, why don't you talk to Drew Rosenhaus?
Mayo looks weak, Curtis. Mayo looks weak early here. Okay, yeah, the guy who just called in, coach, with this, I love his transparency and all that crap. Guess what? Okay, that's a young Mike Tomlin in the works, folks. Have fun at 500.
Well, if he's Mike Tomlin, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, careful what you ask for, buddy.
Well, Mike Tomlin's probably going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl. He's never had a losing season. I know you don't like him, but
he should go thank Bill Cowher directly for his trip to the Hall of Fame because his first 5 years were off of that guy's back.
How many championships did Bill Cowher win as a head coach of that team for 30 years?
Well, Curtis.
I'm asking a simple question.
So, yeah, he won one guy.
Okay.
I know.
So, all of a sudden, Bill Cowher, who lost how many games with a better roster than the Patriots in those years? That divisional playoff game in 96 was a joke.
I know, buddy. I know, buddy. I know. I get it. But this guy has taken that and turned it into like we're celebrating mediocrity down there. Don't even get me started on the Steelers. I'm just telling you that Mayo looks very weak early here, getting bitched out by one of his players right in front of everybody, and then the next day shows up, nothing to see here. Please.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe if I were a Steeler fan and I was used to winning all the time, I'd be angry, but I don't know how many coaches get to 500 with the way they've been playing the last couple of years with those rosters.
Crazy for anybody to complain about Mike Tomlin year after year.
Justin Fields, comeback player of the year on the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean, I also, yes, it could fail. Odds are it will fail because you don't get great coaches. They don't come on trees. Gerard Mayo has no experience. This year may be difficult. But we all saw what happened the last couple of years. And it's not just last year. When 12 left, the team outside of 10-7 was a relative dumpster fire. They were the McDonald's parking lot in Georgia that we talked about earlier. They were totally not cohesive. There was morons coaching the offense. The coach wasn't talking to the quarterback. It was a disaster. The owner hated the coach. Everybody was not on the same page. So maybe this will work. Who knows? But I like it. I'm rooting for it to be successful.
Well, 2 weeks from today, our first Mayo Monday. Or is it Mondays with Mayo? I can't figure out what are we calling
Mondays with Mayo, I believe.
You like Mondays with Mayo better than Mayo Mondays?
I do, yes.
Okay. All right, so we will be with Gerard Mayo 2 weeks from this morning down at Gillette Stadium.
And Ken is putting us up every Sunday night at the End Zone Motel. So I'm looking forward to that.
Also, should I share my new feature idea?
I loved it.
I mean,
I was going to say it, but I didn't want to step on your toes.
I mean, it has a radio pun built into it. I love radio puns.
I think it will be a highly sought-after contest every week.
Do you want me to workshop this with Shime and Courtney on air? Or
public workshop? Let's do it.
Here's my idea.
Okay.
We get Mayo for the time that we get Mayo. You know, we used to get Bill for the time that we get Bill down there.
Yes.
We have a period of time, though, where there are commercials that are airing. And so we're sitting there doing nothing with Mayo. My idea is that we ask Mayo a very specific question. I'm doing this just for the radio pun of it all. We ask him a very specific question, save it, play it at like 9:30. And you know what we call it?
I love it.
Extra Mayo.
I love it.
Shime, took me a full week to come up with that one. What do you think?
I'm into it.
I think
that's good.
Extra Mayo at 9:30?
Yeah, good job by you.
Okay.
I nearly crashed on 24. I was so excited when you told me
loved
this.
it, Curtis. I really appreciate it.
I love radio.
I thought sending me a text message later saying it was brilliant was going a little overboard.
Well, you are.
All right.
You look great in that collared shirt today.